Hey guys, Drifter here. Welcome to Black Ops Cold War in Depth. In today's episode, we're going to be reviewing the Milano 821 submachine gun. This is a very unusual weapon, and it's probably not the best weapon in the game, but it does have one trick up its sleeve, which is hipfire. It is an amazing hipfire weapon. It has some very unique hipfire properties, which we will be talking about a lot in today's episode, and that's mostly the gameplay you're going to see is me using the hipfire class and hipfiring a ton of people, not a whole lot of the ADS variety of combat. Let's talk about one of the major downsides to using the Milano right here in the very beginning, which is bullet velocity. Unfortunately, the Milano bullet velocity is 225 meters per second, which is a little bit on the low end for submachine guns, and just in general, this is extremely slow and difficult to use. For comparison, this is about the bullet velocity of the slowest pistols in Modern Warfare 2019, so you're shooting, there's not even really a hit scan range, it's pretty much all projectile, and there can be delays even up very close. You will definitely need a bullet velocity boosting barrel of some kind for your shots to feel normal with this weapon. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself wondering why your bullets don't hit and the enemies shred you, or why the hit detection feels bad or something like that, because the Milano is just pretty rough in this regard. When it comes to damage, the Milano is not doing too bad. It'll kill between 4 and 6 shots, which is pretty normal for submachine guns, and the damage per shot is fairly high at 42 up close and decreasing down to 28 at long ranges. It's not the highest in the game, but I'd say that's respectable. Headshots will grant you 1 less shot to kill at all ranges. They have a 1.4x multiplier, so headshots are great up close, headshots are great at medium range, and headshots are great at long ranges. The headshots do actually matter on this weapon. It has a maximum damage range of 13 meters, which is fairly long for submachine guns, not the longest by quite a bit. We'll talk about that one in a different episode, but overall, this is really good submachine gun range, so I don't have much to complain about in the range department. Most of the time, however, the Milano will be a 4-shot kill. If you're using this weapon inside of its optimal range, which is what you really want to be doing if you're hip firing, it's probably going to be a 4-shot kill weapon. The Milano rate of fire is 576 rounds per minute, making it the slowest firing submachine gun in the game, and I really want to emphasize this point that for an SMG, that's very slow. There are LMGs in this game that fire faster than that. It is absolutely not a bullet hose kind of weapon, and because of that, when you do the time to kill calculations, you're going to see that they're a little bit slow. The Milano's close quarters combat body shots, or anything under 13 meters, is going to kill in 313 milliseconds, and your maximum time to kill, the 6-shot range, which isn't like crazy far out there, is 521 milliseconds. So pretty much any range you're shooting people with the Milano, unless you're getting headshots, and even headshots won't save you that much, it's going to be fairly slow. The Milano has an overall slower time to kill than any other submachine guns. There are submachine guns that kill a little bit slower than that in close quarters combat, but not by much, and not at long ranges. This weapon really struggles at long ranges despite having a good range stat. It just does not kill people very quickly, and that makes it very difficult to use as a weapon. It makes it very difficult to find the right place, because what most players gravitate toward, and especially good players, is weapons that just delete their enemies, and well, for good reason too. You don't want them to live. So you really have to dig deep to try to find out why you should use a slow killing weapon, and we are going to do that after today's sponsored segment. I just wanted to let you all know that Astro Gaming is having a huge Black Friday sale right now on their website, with almost everything being 20% off and an additional 5% off if you either use code DRIFTOR or click the link down there below in the description. I use Astro headsets every single day. These here are my personal A40s that I game and play. I hit the microphone and stream on with. Like this, these are my workhorse headsets. A40s are probably the standard headset for FPS games around the world, especially on consoles. They sell an audio adapter so that your older headsets will work with next-gen consoles. There is the nice AO3 in-ear monitors, which are earbuds. I reviewed them recently. And since Astro Gaming is the official headset sponsor of Call of Duty, if you get the Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War Edition Astro A10s, you will find inside the package this little Astro X Call of Duty card, which if you open up will reveal a code in the top, and that code will allow you to unlock an in-game charm for your headset. So you can literally have your headsets that are on your head in the game. It's kind of neat. You just claim it on callofduty.com/redeem and you get the little Astro charm. That's pretty much it for this sponsored segment. I just wanted to let you guys know that my favorite headset brand and longest sponsor, Astro, is having a massive sale. If you are looking for a good Christmas present for a friend, boyfriend, or significant other of any kind, Astro headsets are a fantastic choice. They're extremely durable, long-lasting, great audio quality, and compatible with next-gen consoles if you get the adapter. Now that we're back from that, let's talk about what the Milano is good at. And one of the things it's good at is that it has good handling stats. It can aim down sights in 250 milliseconds, which is pretty good. It's maybe a little bit on the faster side of average for SMGs. And the sprint out time is average for SMGs at 250 milliseconds. You can boost both of these, so you can make it a very snappy weapon. The Milano also has a faster than average reload time at 2.2 seconds. This stacks proportionally for full, empty, reload, half mag, whatever, fast mags. The average reload time for submachine guns and assault rifles is probably 2.4, with some going up to 2.6 and 2.8. This one is a little bit faster in that regard, which is good because you're going to be wasting a lot of shots. And it has the tightest hipfire accuracy in the game, which is its strong suit, and is what you're mostly seeing gameplay of here today. So let's throw some numbers on this hipfire so I'm not just spitting that out there. The average assault rifle hipfire spread is 7.5 mil, and I talked to Tony Flame about this, and he said those are milliradians, or it's a unit that measures the conical spread away from a center point. So basically, the bigger this number is, the bigger area that it can land in. The SMG average hipfire spread is 7 milliradians, and the Milano is a little bit tighter than the rest of the submachine guns at 6.5 milliradians. And I looked down to compare this to pistols and shotguns and other things, and even though that is not perhaps the biggest or craziest of drops, it is the biggest in the game. I could not find a weapon with less than 6.5 milliradians of hipfire, especially at least not a full auto one, and even the pistols and stuff seem pretty similar. So the Milano has great hipfire attributes, which is what we're going to try to build a class around today. The base recoil on the weapon, I would say, is overall low, or more accurately, the vertical recoil is low, but it does have some unpredictable horizontal recoil. That the sights like to jump left and right more than I would really prefer for accurate shooting. You can definitely mitigate this. There's a lot of recoil mitigating attachments in the game, so you can kit it out to kill that horizontal recoil, but by default, it's going to be difficult to hit people at long ranges because your weapon will bounce unpredictably left and right. The iron sights for this weapon, I'll say they're good, or you know what, they're acceptable enough for the ranges at which it's useful. It's not really good enough to be used at super long ranges, but it is absolutely good enough to be used up close and at medium ranges. So as long as you're sticking in that close little area, you really don't need a sight on your Milano. Unfortunately, the only real strengths that this gun has is the fast reload time and slightly better than average hipfire stats. Everything else is going to be subpar. The overall time to kill, the forgiveness when in terms of rate of fire, the recoil, the bullet velocity, handling sprint out, all that kind of stuff. It's all pretty rough. Except it's got really great hipfire and it reloads pretty quickly. It just lacks in everything except for those two. So, in my opinion, the Milano should be considered if you want to try to build a hyper-rushing hipfire class. And this is a class that will only work for aggressive players. You're going to need Ninja and a couple of other stealth perks and attachments. And on top of that, the hyper-rushing hipfire class absolutely will not work against good players. If you are a good Call of Duty player, and you are playing in high-skilled lobbies or competitive lobbies, or you notice that your enemies are sweating, this probably won't work on them. You might be able to surprise them a time or two in the beginning of the game by getting close, but your hipfire class won't really challenge head glitches very effectively, and it'll be very difficult to get kills at even more than medium range once the map starts getting on lockdown for hill rotations and stuff like that. So this is going to be for average and less than average players. I don't even think that there is a good class for the Milano in the more competitive lobbies, so I'm not going to recommend it. Let's jump into the class. So this is how my Milano looks. It kind of looks like absolute madness here, but you can see I've got a suppressor, laser, an underbarrel mount, which is a little bit rare for a hipfire weapon, a big mag, and a stock. So the first, and in my opinion most important attachment, is the sound suppressor. I do not use the agency suppressor for this one because I don't really need any of the other attributes that it has, and it has a larger range penalty. I'm just going to be hip firing. So this one that just keeps me off the radar is fantastic. I I use the SWAT 5 milliwatt laser, which gives me plus 35% hipfire accuracy, which is awesome, by the way. That tightens up my hipfire tremendously. And the only con is a slightly slower than average aim down sights time, but I'm not really ADSing, so that's not really a downside to me. When it comes to grips, I actually use the patrol grip to give myself a slightly faster sprinting move speed, plus 6%. This lets me sprint around the map and get ready to flank and reposition very quickly, and I've overall kind of enjoyed it. For magazines, I prefer the Stenag 55 round drum magazine because the downsides to it are reload quickness and aim down sights time, which are things I'm not really doing a whole lot of to begin with, and I've got 55 rounds in the mag and a ton of starting ammo, and since I'm hip firing and wasting my bullets, it's incredibly helpful, especially for killing multiple enemies. And then finally, the last stock that I like is the wire stock. There are other stocks that give you a faster sprint out time, which is good for hip firing, but they come with the added downside of widening your hip fire spread. This one is just pure bonus, a little bit faster sprint out time, and it doesn't really affect my super tight hip fire. And with this, I just kind of run around the map and hip fire people. I wish I could get them akimbo. They would be kind of like Scorpions from Black Ops 1. That would be very fun. It is a fun class to use. It's a unique strategy to use. It feels a little bit Apex-like when you're knee sliding and hip firing people, but it's probably not the best weapon. If you are a better than average player and you're facing better than average enemies, you really shouldn't be using the Milano, so just kind of don't. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed this episode of In Depth. I hope that you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.